Hi, friends. Matt Machala. Boiler up. That's right. Big week for Purdue. So I am pleased. Sorry, I should put some money in the boot probably. I am pleased to introduce our speaker today, Eric Hodel from Midwest Food Bank. So a little about Eric. Eric grew up on a farm in Metamora, graduated from the University of Illinois with a BS in Ag Engineering. For 20 years, worked at Caterpillar in engineering, marketing, machine product development, and retired early as the track-type tractor product manager for North America. When he changed careers from CAT to Midwest Food Bank in 2017 as their COO and CFO, he's been helping lead the organization as it continues to grow, and currently has 10 divisions in the US and 2 divisions internationally. So as of yesterday, it was announced that he now is the CEO of Midwest Food Bank, and he will continue to help strategically lead Midwest Food Bank. So Eric and his wife Gina have 2 sons and a daughter. 2 of them are in college right now, and the youngest is in high school. Please give a warm Rotary welcome to Eric Hodel.
Well, thank you for the introduction and good afternoon. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. I'm going to cover a few points. The most that I'm looking for is questions. I'd love to get engagement and questions. I'll start with a question. How many people are somewhat familiar with Midwest Food Bank? Okay, very good. So then that leaves my goal for my time with you here today is to at least impart one new thing. I would be hopeful that you could walk away with one new element that you've learned about Midwest Food Bank. I'll cover these 4 points. I'll talk a little bit about our mission, our vision, and where we're going as an organization. Give you a little bit of a pictorial on our operating model and how we think about our business and our organization. And I'll then give you a flyover of all of the locations and then talk about some highlights and some insights from this year. So again, I'll go through it fairly quick just because you're smart people, and then I really would like to get questions so I can help you understand more about the food bank and our mission. Go ahead, please. I guess I'm in charge of that. We got Jeff. So a lot on this slide, and I certainly will not unpack it all, but it starts with our mission. What we're all about is our mission, and as a faith-based organization, it's our mission to share the love of Christ and to alleviate food and malnutrition locally and throughout the world, and that's all without discrimination. So simply put, we try to feed somebody physically, and we try to encourage somebody spiritually. That's what our mission is. We operate with 5 values. That's the expectation for everybody in the organization. That's the expectation for our board, our staff, our volunteers, and agencies that come. It's with those values that we want to serve the need, be a part of a community. We certainly rely on volunteers and embrace them. Honesty and integrity are imperative, and then also executing through teamwork. So those are the 5 values that we operate our organization through. We've got 3 and 10-year goals. Those aren't overly important other than it's a plan for growth and it's a plan for sound financial stewardship. Our vision, again, is to be industry leading. As we look at being a food bank, and we're kind of in the wholesale space. We're not a food pantry. We're not a soup kitchen. We provide to those organizations. But we want to be industry leading. We certainly, as a nonprofit of our size, we hope that we put people and processes in place that other nonprofits aspire to, and we can provide some benchmark and some guidance. And as we look at the year, so where will Midwest Food Bank run out the end of 2021? Lord willing, we'll distribute over $395 million of food to our agencies. That $395 million of food is given out to over 2,000 agencies around the world at no cost. We do not charge the agencies that pick up from Midwest Food Bank a dime. And so we raise funds, and I'll talk about that a little bit more about how we do that. Nearly a third of what we distribute, we aim to be in the produce, dairy, protein, nutritional bucket. We like to provide a variety. We like to provide choice for our agencies and our food recipients. but we also want to do the service that we have very nutritiously. Our goal for all of our divisions is revenue over expense to be positive, cash flow, basic business management. But again, that's a goal that we have for each of our divisions to generate funds in excess of what their expenses are to operate. And then that allows them to distribute the food at no cost. And from a culture perspective, obviously a safe environment for everybody, but also a positive culture. One of the things that's really for me interesting about Midwest Food Bank and different from when I stepped into the organization of what I understood it to be is we really provide a purpose for a lot of people. And we're serving food pantries and we're serving people that are in need for food. But in a lot of cases, we're serving a purpose for our volunteers that come in and volunteer. It's an opportunity for them to be around others, maybe a transition after retirement, or maybe they've lost a loved one. But time and time again, I really impacted by the different volunteers that come in and have a place to really plug in and have a purpose. Next slide, please. So our business model, again, this for me is a really simple but key visual. We have three inputs that come into our organization on the left-hand side. We have financial donations. That's how we run the operation. We have donated food. We go out, we source, we partner, we procure donated food. And then we have volunteers, and I've talked about those. But those three inputs come into a Midwest Food Bank location, and out of that are 4 programs. Our main program is food distribution to agencies, but we also have a program of disaster relief. I'm sure you're familiar with that and our partnership with Salvation Army through disaster relief. We have a Tender Mercies meal, which is a shelf-stable, nutritious meal that we produce. And we also have Hope Packs, which is a weekend food pack for students that are on a school feeding program that they have food over the course of the weekend. So those are our 4 outputs. What that looks like, and if for those of you here in Peoria, and this is the same for all of our locations, it takes about $1 million of donations to come in, about $30 to $40 million of donated food, and about 1,000 different volunteers of all shapes and sizes that come in and work and operate out of a food bank like Peoria Midwest Food Bank. And then out of that, we distribute that $30 to $40 million of food, and we do disaster relief boxes, Hope Packs, and Tender Mercies. So that's what each of our divisions, and I'm going to talk about the 10 in the U.S. here shortly, but that's how they all operate, is the same business model. One of the things that we really try to think about is starting with the end in mind, and that's the graphic at the bottom of the screen, which is really starting with our food recipients. When we think about how we want to procure food and organize that through our facility, we certainly try to do that with dignity and class for our food recipients. So we're trying to get them the best quality food, handle it, package it, organize it, just like they would if they were picking up at a grocery store. Next slide. So this gives you just a little bit more of a view of where Midwest Food Bank has come from and where we're currently at. And it gives you a picture of a timeline. As we've added different divisions, you can see those division locations that their name or title drops in on the growth curve. And then also the growth that we've experienced in terms of food distributed. So that's what this chart represents, is the beginning in 2003 out of one location in Bloomington, Illinois. And then the timeline of adding different locations and then turning our inventory faster and quicker through our locations to be able to distribute more food to our pantries. And so that's what the organization currently looks like today. Go ahead. Just a broader look again at our divisions and our structure. We have a national board of directors of 9 board members that govern the entire organization. These board members live and operate businesses around the U.S. And those 9 national board members are who I work for and certainly report to and help set the strategic direction of the organization. We also have divisional advisory boards. So each of our locations have a divisional advisory board. Frank Gutwein, you'll see his name up there underneath Peoria, is on our divisional advisory board for Peoria. And so they have a local board structure to lean on to connect them with the community in Georgia or Arizona or Pennsylvania or New England. You get the point. But that's how we're set up and structured, and it really has served us well. As we continue to grow, we continue to find business and nonprofit and industry leaders that have a passion for our mission and have a desire to lean in and help Midwest Food Bank. So that's our structure and our footprint. Go ahead. I share with this is from Frank in Texas. If anybody remembers in March, all of the freezing that occurred in Texas, and obviously that state's geographic location not being prepared for that type of weather. But here's a comment from Frank. I'm writing to convey my deepest appreciation for the food and supply boxes you helped the Salvation Army. As a person not accustomed to needing to rely on others for support, I find myself and my family in a position where most of our possessions are lost, all of our food supplies have spoiled, and the light of hope we usually have is dim. Today, a bit of that burden was lifted when we received the much-needed box of supplies. With deepest gratitude, Frank. So just an example of where we're able to be serving others. That, again, in Frank's mind, he wasn't expecting to need it to be served. But because of a natural disaster or sometimes just because of life's hardship, these individuals are in a point of time where they do have a need. And it's either our food distribution programs, or in this case, it was the freeze and the natural disaster. Midwest Food Bank does our part in trying to step in and provide that need. And again, I think you see in this commentary here, it was also that hope. Again, it was that encouragement that Frank received in addition to the physical goods that he was looking for. Next slide, please. And then just a few more kind of examples, again, so you can get just a pulse of how we operate. In Georgia, we have an agency prayer board. And so what that means is when an agency comes in, we ask them, do they have a prayer request? They say yes. They tell us what it is. We capture that. We put it on a prayer board. We have a group of individuals that come in weekly and pray for those needs. And next month, when that agency comes back to pick up, we pull that prayer request, we go to them, and we ask how things are going. So just a great process and a great set of people in Georgia that are sharing the love of Christ through the prayer board. In Central Florida, we have a distribution. We were primarily in Southwest Florida. We saw a need in Central Florida, down around the Polk County, Orlando area. So we have a second facility in Florida, again, seeing a need, engaging in the community, and doing our small part to serve. Here in in Haiti, you can see Tender Mercy meals being distributed. None of you need to be reminded how unfortunate the Haiti economic situation is. And so Midwest Food Bank ships sea containers of food, mostly the Tender Mercy meals, because they're shelf stable. You add hot water and you have a nutritious instant meal. And we partner with hospitals, school programs to provide them that nutritious food. People that are needing to be healed have that good food to help them with their body and recovering. Young kids that are trying to learn, we're filling them with nutritious food to help them grow physically. And there's also a whole mental stunting element of not having the nutritious food that we're trying to help solve in Haiti. And then here, Hope Packs in Bloomington Normal. Again, we serve about 10,000 different children with Hope Packs so that over the weekend they have food. So last slide, how can you help? We have 5 things that we typically inform people on. One is just prayer. Again, we certainly appreciate any amount of prayerful support that you can lend the organization. Volunteering, I refer to it as the secret sauce of Midwest Food Bank, is our volunteers. They allow us to operate extremely efficiently. Follow us on social media. You can like us on Facebook or Instagram. You can also follow us and go through our website at midwestfoodbank.org. Those are ways to connect. You can connect us with your families and friends. All of you, I'm very impressed, knew about Midwest Food Bank, but I garnered that over your Christmas holiday or your travels this winter, you may be around friends or families that don't know about Midwest Food Bank. Give them a 1-minute highlight reel of Midwest Food Bank, because the more people that know about us, the more that can help in partnering with us. And then give. Again, we look for in each of our locations we're trying to generate about $1 million of private donations and grants that allows that operation to run. That $1 million, if you remember my numbers, this isn't a quiz, but that $1 million then allows that location to distribute 30 or $40 million of food at no cost. So when we go in and we start a new division in Hartford, Connecticut, up in the Northeast, the local community is ecstatic because they know that if they can get their arms around $1 million of annual support, that community is going to get provided 30 or $40 million of food support into that region. So that's the story of Midwest Food Bank. Again, I hope you learned something, but more importantly, I would be very willing to take any questions. Way in the back, yes?
Our Rotary for ICC is interested in volunteering. What's the easiest way for them to get signed up for volunteering?
The easiest way is to go to our website and go to the Peoria location. I assume you want to volunteer in Peoria and call the front desk. The easiest way is to go to the Peoria. I don't have the phone number memorized, otherwise I would give it to you. But go to our website, call the Peoria location, and ask to volunteer. We do partner with ICC. We provide food to the food pantry at ICC. I don't know if you knew that or not. Yeah, there's a food pantry at ICC that picks up from Midwest Food Bank so that students that are in need can get served.
You got a question right here?
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, there's a microphone. I didn't know the process, sorry.
Where is your actual headquarters, and are you a 501(c) organization?
Great question. Yes, we are a 501c3 organization. We're headquartered in Bloomington Normal. That's kind of our main address. I work in Bloomington on Mondays and Wednesdays. I work out of our Morton division on Tuesdays. I work out of our Peoria division on Thursdays. Obviously, I'm in contact and I visit all of our other locations as well, but Bloomington Normal is our home base.
I was just going to ask if the same process for volunteering can be done for whichever location you're interested in volunteering.
Absolutely. If you go to our website, the first thing you get to choose is what location. And we've been, side story while they're passing the mic, we've had people that have volunteered here in Morton. Cats relocated them to Atlanta, Georgia, and they plug in and they volunteered at our Peachtree facility in Georgia. So it's pretty exciting.
I'm curious, your prayer board in Georgia, what are your statistics on return on investment on that? Do you keep track of when they come back and ask them how it went?
Yeah.
If the prayers are answered?
Yeah, we do. They ask that question. I don't know the statistical data behind that. I apologize. But I know that God is good, and in his time, he answers the right prayers. But it's impactful process. It really is. Yes.
Thank you for coming to visit us. The Peoria Area Food Bank, does that help you, work with you in competition? How does that work?
Yeah, that's a great question. Peoria Area Food Bank is a part of Feeding America. Feeding America is a wholesale food bank just like Midwest Food Bank. Our model with the Feeding America food banks is a collaborative model. Feeding America will have access more to government funds, government foods. They'll have a different set of food items that they maybe have at their food bank for pantries than the partners that Midwest Food Bank has with our food donors. And so a lot of times agencies will pick up at both Peoria Food Bank and Midwest Food Bank, and they're getting different items, much like many of you probably shop at different grocery stores. Great question.
Another one over here.
Eric, I apologize if you already covered part of this, but is there just percentages of the funds that go to your current care versus your critical care versus your snack packs? Do you have a breakdown of?
Yeah, so I'll answer the question two ways. So 99.2 cents out of every dollar that's donated in Midwest Food Bank goes to our programs. So we operate with 0.8% overhead. That's a macro level answer. From our food programs, probably 90% of it goes through food distribution. Probably about 8% of our goes through disaster relief, and it's 2 to 3% that goes through our Hope Packs and our Tender Mercies. We're just kind of starting and building that Hope Pack program, but it's probably 98 and 2%.
Eric, you mentioned earlier of the collaboration between the food banks, or how they work together or don't. But with the Peoria Rescue Ministries downtown and the Southside Mission, is there any collaboration there? Do you guys work together?
Yeah, again, they're agencies. When I talk about agencies, so they would come pick up food. They would be a partner agency that would receive from Midwest Food Bank. Yes, and I think both are.
Got another question, but on the way, I don't have a question, I have a comment. Epic's fiscal year ended, 2021 ended in June, and we distributed over 47,000 meals to people with disabilities during the pandemic, and partly because of Midwest Food Bank, so thank you.
Thank you, Epic.
Where do you get your food donations from?
Yeah, great. Another great question. Our food donations would come from food providers like Kellogg's, and I won't list them all, but Del Monte. Those food manufacturers maybe have an overrun. Del Monte, maybe as they're putting their cans together, they have a label that goes on crooked, or they got a can that gets dinged, still a quality product. So those food manufacturers have that excess, and we have that partnership to go get that from them. The other main source is food distributors, so like a Cisco or Dot Foods. They're in a business of transporting food, and as those pallets come in and out of warehouses and on and off semis, again, sometimes a box will get damaged. And so for their business model, it's more efficient to take that whole pallet, and we have a Midwest Food Bank trailer already there on their site, that they just put that whole pallet on a Midwest Food Bank trailer rather than unwrapping and taking that box off and rewrapping it. So those are our two main food sources. Our third one would also be retailers. The example would be Walmart. When Walmart orders at their distribution center, they might be ordering for 10 stores. They're ordering for their distribution center. They bring in the volume of strawberries that they think they need from those 10 stores. Those 10 stores end up ordering 90% of what they thought they needed. So they have 10% of the strawberries left over. Again, they donate that to Midwest Food Bank.
For fundraising, are there any signature events that Midwest Food Bank holds throughout the year that we should keep an eye out for on the calendar?
Yeah, that's a great question. In the Peoria location, there are, I want to say there's 3. There is a clay shoot in June. There's a golf outing at Weaver Ridge. I don't know if it's still called Weaver Ridge, but you guys know what I'm saying. In September, and then there is like a drive-through dinner. They used to have, I would call it like a dinner gala that got modified with the pandemic, and so it's a drive-through. Frank, tell me what time is that?
Normally
in the fall time frame. So yeah, kind of keep your eyes open for those 3. Following us on Facebook would get you that information.
Uh,
I love the questions, by the way. This is invigorating.
so you mentioned about 30% is produce, meat, vegetables. So in your warehouses, is that like 30% like refrigerated storage?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the unique things about Midwest Food Bank is we invest quite a bit in cooler and freezer storage. And we do that because we know we need to have the capacity. So that's a major focus of ours. Drive-in fork trucks, big freezers, big coolers.
We're just having Ashley running back and forth on the tables here. You mentioned coolers and freezers. Have you ever partnered with like the IDNR with venison processing and things like that? They have CWD processing to check the deer in various other counties, but they also then process the facility, the venison, and have it available for distribution. Have you worked with them at all?
We have a little bit. I can't tell you much more than I know that at times we've gotten post deer season, we've gotten some venison and some of those products through our facilities. I don't know how tight of a partnership it is, or if it was just kind of a one and done. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your plans for expansion and what you're doing next?
Yeah, the question was plans for expansion. There's a question in the back too, but the question is plans for expansion and where do we go next? Yeah, always kind of a topic. In February every year we get together for 2 days with a national board and we have a strategy planning meeting. We don't have anything, I would say, brewing, but we certainly are thinking about, we have some options in mind as we think about the West and kind of balancing out throughout the United States. At this point, as an organization, we've been like sprinting to kind of keep up with the growth. I stepped in 4.5 years ago, and there was some structure that was needed as it had grown. And so we've been kind of sprinting to kind of put the accounting processes, the inventory processes, all that in place to help the organization run. But we continue to look and think about it, but I don't have a specific geographic or state.
How efficient is it, or how much does it cost you to send food to Haiti?
Yeah, so to Haiti, again, we'll kind of put together a sea container load of shelf-stable food. Usually it's at least half Tender Mercies. It might be some beans. It might be other shelf-stable product. We send that with our own trucks down to our Florida location. And then at the Florida location, it gets packed into a sea container. The sea container shipment costs, I don't know exactly, but we landed in Port-au-Prince, and then we have nonprofits that we partnership with in Haiti. So generally, it's $40,000 to $50,000 a load to get the Tender Mercy meals purchased because we have to buy those raw ingredients and to get the transportation into region. So it's probably $50,000 a sea container to land into Haiti.
This may not be your area, but I've heard there's a lot of food surplus waste from restaurants, catering businesses maybe, things like that. Who takes care of that issue locally? Do you know?
Yeah, locally, there's a organization that does that. I know Marcy is the first name of the lady that leads that initiative. We don't dip into that space too much. We do work with grocery stores. That's another source of food, is we do make grocery store runs to pick up at grocery stores. But the food rescue from catering events or sporting events, that's just not something that we've delved into. We've looked at it, we're aware of it, but there's other nonprofits right now that kind of fill that void. I think it's Marcy Tupper that leads an organization in the Peoria area.
Now, I might help you on that. This is Bill Lurbach. I'm chairman of Heart of Illinois Harvest that was organized through this Rotary group. There's 3 of us. We pick up food on a daily basis, 6 days a week, and transport it to all the pantries in the city. And we have been doing this is going into our 30th year. And we've talked to you folks a few times too. One of the things that I think you should explain to them is about Tender Mercies. I was on a plane, I'm from South Dakota originally, Rapid City, and I was on a plane coming back and I ran into a group of people from a church out in Pennsylvania. And I asked them, there was a lot of young people on the plane, and I asked them what they were doing out in the Dakotas, and they said they were distributing Tender Mercies to the Indian missions. And I don't think a lot of people know how you manufacture that. I think that'd be an interesting thing for them to know.
Sure. Yeah, the quick summary on Tender Mercies is it's a nutritious meal that we've developed with Marjorie LaFonte and the University of Illinois Extension Service. It is rice and pinto beans, vitamins and protein. And it's a pre-cooked. You just add hot water to it. Is the package, and you cook a bag. You add 8 cups of hot water, and you add it to the Tender Mercies mix. And it provides a meal for 4 to 5 people. So that product we produce by hand as volunteers come in and they want to have an event and they want to have a project. We have all types of people that come in and hand package Tender Mercies. And then we also have a machine in our Morton, Illinois facility that can produce that through a machine. So when the pandemic hit, we saw demand really skyrocket, and we were running 2.5 shifts on that machine to produce Tender Mercy meals. So that's the one meal package that we produce at the food bank. Thank you for the. I'm probably guarded on time. I know you got to wrap up here, so I'm getting the thumbs up from Frank. But any last questions? I don't want to keep you late. Like, you guys have been great because I wanted to give you a picture of the food bank, and I really wanted to field your questions. Everybody raised their hand, just about everybody raised their hand at the beginning of the meeting and said they knew something about Midwest Food Bank. Did anybody learn anything new about Midwest Food Bank over the last 20 or 30 minutes? Okay, so just about everybody. So hopefully mission accomplished. Thank you.